One of the most powerful features of a database is the ability to filter data. A filter lets you select only the records that match a certain selection criteria. In this video, we will explain how to connect a filter to your transformation workflow and check the filtered data using Matillion ETL. The filter is a versatile and powerful component and is similar to a where clause in SQL, used for narrowing down your data for viewing and analysis. You can use a filter for a number of purposes, such as finding data rows within a specific period of time, omitting certain results, numerical comparisons, and pattern matching. For this example, we want our subset of data to only include rows of data for airports that do not have a blank or null value, and also have a state code of AZ. To add a filter component to your transformation job, drag it from the Components drop-down onto the canvas. You can find the filter component under Components, Data, Transform, or by typing Filter into the search bar. In this example, a table input component is used to read data from an existing table. The data it reads can be manipulated to your needs using Matillion ETL transformation components. In this case, the filter component. We can first view this untransformed data by selecting the table input component and clicking on the Sample tab, then Refresh Data. Here you'll be presented with a sample of the data. Once you've added the filter component to the canvas, connect the filter to your data source, in this case a table input component. To configure the filter, click on the filter component and navigate to the Properties panel. Here we can rename it, add filter conditions, and choose the logic by which these conditions are combined. We recommend that users change the name of the filter to something meaningful so it's easy to identify. By changing the filter conditions, you can take data from a column in your input table and check if it meets criteria made up of qualifiers, comparators, and values. To edit the filter conditions, click on the ellipsis or double-click on the values. Here we can see 4 headings: input column, qualifier, comparator, and value. Then click the plus icon and a new row will appear. For the input column, select the fields you would like to filter from your connected table. These will be automatically generated from incoming data connections, such as the link between the table input and the filter in this example. Filters work by only keeping the data that matches the conditions that you define. For this example, we want to keep any record that is not null or blank in the airport column. First, we set our input column to airport, then set the qualifier as not, and the comparator to null or blank. Click OK. Then we need to set the Combine Conditions property. Here you have a choice of AND or OR. By selecting AND for the Combine Conditions, all filter conditions we add need to be met to appear in the sample. If OR is selected, then any added filter conditions results will be returned. For now, we'll select AND. To check your filter has worked, on the Sample tab, press the Refresh Data button to see your filtered data. You can add multiple filter conditions to the same filter. If we also wanted to filter the data to leave only airports where the state column has a value of AZ, we can set up a second filter within the same component to achieve this. To add a second condition to the filter, first move back to the Properties tab, then double-click again on Filter Conditions, and press the plus button to add a second row. Here we will filter the data by a specific state. For the input column, we'll select State, then for the qualifier, select Is, then for the comparator, select is equal to. And for this example, we will need to include a value. For this, we'll input AZ, the 2-character code for the state. Then, once we're done, click OK, and we can resample the data by pressing Refresh Data in the Sample tab to see our newly filtered results. So, if we look back at the data from before we added and configured the filter component, we can see the conditions applied have taken effect. For full documentation on the filter component, you can go to the Help tab or by visiting the Matillion support site.